We are going to talk about AI, artificial intelligence. And there should be nothing about intelligence that is artificial, but putting that aside for a moment, let me welcome Matt Rosen.
Hey, good evening, Dan. This is Matt Rosen with Aleda. Great to be on the show. Thanks for having me this evening.
So we got all of a sudden artificial intelligence is the new key word. Everybody's talking artificial intelligence, artificial intelligence. I like genuine intelligence. Tell me why I should be excited about artificial intelligence. Go ahead.
Well, funny enough, Dan, this technology and the thought about it's been around since the 50s, back when you had the computers trying to beat chess players. And it's really evolved a lot over the years, but it's never really been accessible. The computing power you needed was always just too much. You need to have computers bigger than a building. But now, with the advent of cloud computing and all the fast chips like NVIDIA, you see that going crazy. It's become accessible to consumers. And really, when you think about what artificial intelligence does, it can just think and reason like a human, but really in three areas: in automating tasks, in gaining insights. So if you have lots and lots of data in spreadsheets, it can find insights a lot faster than a person can. Or it can create. It can write. It can create pictures. But it really is better with a human. It's kind of like an untrained child. It can kind of come up with some interesting things to say, but it needs supervision. But it's really interesting what's happening in this field as it's kind of accessible to everyone over the internet these days.
Well, it's also scary because artificial intelligence, I assume, will eventually eliminate a lot of people's jobs. We've seen jobs eliminated, with advances in technology, which of course we've watched for at least 20 or 30 years now. What we're concerned about, one of my concerns about artificial intelligence is that whatever you put into the system, that's what it spits out. And if someone puts in that Abraham Lincoln was the 14th American president, and that's what they find, they're going to miss him by about two presidents, if you know what I'm saying.
I do, and that's always a fear with every new technological trend, and that's been happening since the industrial age. It happened with the internet. Everyone's afraid once everything had an E behind it, there would no longer be retail stores, and obviously that didn't happen. Artificial intelligence. I look at the next week.
Wait a second. Retail stores. Look at what's going on with Amazon right now. I mean, I got some stuff today that I order over the internet. A lot of brick and mortar stores have gone out of business. Yes, no?
Yeah, some of them have, but you have a lot of local retailers that have popped up. Yeah, it's definitely had an impact, but the retail shopping experience hasn't totally gone away. It's just changed. Stores are smaller footprints. But you're right. You ought to see how much money my wife spends on Amazon. We have packages stacked on the doorstep almost every day.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting because you order something and you don't have to leave the house. And again, that's I get it. I totally get that. So on balance, it sounds to me like you're someone who's telling me this is a really good thing, and eventually it's going to be more beneficial than detrimental.
That's correct. I mean, with every technological change, with every technology, there's change. Things are different. You have to adapt to them. So, when I think about artificial intelligence, I don't think artificial intelligence is going to take jobs away per se, but somebody using artificial intelligence, watch out, because they are going to be coming for your job. Think of it as a personal assistant that can read your emails, that can schedule meetings for you, that if you need a brainstorming session for your next show, you can type into ChatGPT or Gemini, hey, give me 20 good ideas for our next show. And you know what? 19 of them are probably going to be terrible, but one of them is going to be really good. And then you can ask it some more questions. So I look at this as a virtual aid to really just help humans become more creative.
I'm going to try that tomorrow just for the fun of it, all kidding aside. I've had some AI experts on before, and I realized that you can say, give me, a 100-word mini essay on the life of Ted Williams or the life of Carl Yastrzemski, and it'll give you some stuff, that's for sure. What I'm concerned about also, and I don't know if you share these concerns, is that kids are not going to learn how to write. They're not going to learn how to think, because when you have to do an essay and you're in the 8th grade and you have no clue how to even start, your default mechanism is going to be artificial intelligence. And I don't know how the teachers are supposed to figure out what's real and what's artificial. It's another burden on them. I see a lot of downsides to this, and I know I'm sounding like a negative person here, but You've pointed out a couple of things that are interesting. Overall, you think it's a plus. Is the point I'm getting from you, correct?
I think there's positives and there's negatives, and we have to learn how to adapt to those as a society. Because frankly, the technology is not going away; it's going to be used, and we need to use it for good. There needs to be some regulation around it. We need to be able to make sure that people are checking on it, that there's not bias, that there's a diverse set of people working on it. I also think that children probably shouldn't be exposed to the models right out of the gate. They should be taught to learn, and then it used to be enhance their learnings. And frankly, you can run a ChatGPT generated essay through ChatGPT, and it'll tell you whether it generated it or not. So there's some very common patterns that you can see in an artificial intelligence drafted communication. They'll always have an introduction and a conclusion. So it's not too hard to spot when this is being done. And, there's some issues at colleges today where, students are getting punished for using one of these engines and they didn't. And so there's going to have to be some rules and regulations, just like everything else around how and when it gets used. But I run a professional services company. We write a lot of software for a living, and they're telling me, hey, the software is going to write itself here in a few years. Hey, that's scary for my programmers.
I bet it is.
So what we're trying to do is really learn how to use the what they call a co-pilot. So it helps you write code, but then it helps you edit the code and work with it. You wouldn't ever take something that you wrote out in a ChatGPT engine and then have it go run an airline. That would be really scary. I wouldn't want to get on that plane.
Yeah, there's some lawyers in New York who apparently got a little lazy, and they were researching a case, and they were looking for certain cases, and artificial intelligence gave them 2 or 3 cases with names, names and citations, and the cases did not exist.
Totally fictitious cases. There were 6 of them, and those lawyers both got fined like $5,000. Yes, I read about that. And, the thing is, you got to check its work, because artificial intelligence, it's getting better, but it used to have what it calls delusions, where it just makes things up that aren't true. And the engines are getting better. There's less and less of that happening, but it still happens. And so humans are always going to have to check the work that an engine creates. I really view it as a starting point and an assistant to do things faster. I view it as a tool to help. Who wants to read through hundreds of documents to find one piece of information? If you can feed it to an engine and you can ask the engine questions, it can tell you what you're looking for. So I view it as a way to reduce a lot of mundane work, and I'm trying to use it in my daily life as I go about running a firm to help draft emails, help create presentations. But you know what? That work alone isn't going to stand on its own. It takes a human to think about it, to edit it, to work with it, to make it more creative before we'd ever put something like that in front of one of our clients.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's going to be an interesting experience. Then the question is, what do we get after artificial intelligence? I mean, that's not going to be the end. It's just going to keep getting.
Nope, the technological waves are going to keep coming.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to bring a lot of good. I mean, it's already helping develop some very specific medicines to treat patients, because an AI engine can find connections and patterns in research faster than humans can. So we're going to be able to create breakthrough drugs. It's going to help monitor people's homes, and there's a lot of good it's going to bring. But it always, with every new revolution, it has its downsides that we have to look out for.
Okay, Matt,
so,
I appreciate. How can folks get in touch with you? What's the website if people would like to reach out to you?
Yeah, I'm at www.allata.com, and what we do is, we help people create custom solutions, and we help them look at their businesses. How is AI going to impact them? We help guide them through it, because the technology is changing daily. We help them develop software with it. We help look at their data and get ready for AI. And we can really just help shepherd them through the journey, because these tools are complex, they're ever-changing, and I've got hundreds of engineers that are working and playing with it every day and learning how to work with them and really adapt them to business problems.
All right, great. Matt, appreciate your time. Have a great weekend, okay? I know it's only Thursday, but we always are thinking about the weekend on Thursday. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.